pleasant environment. A very pleasant working environment where you're always greeted with a smile.
Indeed.
Yes, and always satisfied with your prescription. Now today we're going to have a few questions to ask Dr. Atkinson about health and how it concerns you mentally and physically, spiritually, yes, as well. Yes, Dr. Atkinson, what is the principle of health? Let us start.
Start there, huh?
Yes, let's start
That's an
there.
excellent question. And I guess this is for the benefit of all of us. Wow, that's an excellent question. Even though I had something to do with the question, it's a very good question. Every time I hear it, it's very special to me because the principle of health is what does all healing. And we discussed that, there's many different systems of healing. You have your medical doctors, you have your naturopathic doctors, and you also have spiritual or faith healers, and you have dietitians. And all of them pretty much can achieve the same thing. So that brings us to the conclusion in this business, the foundation of it is that the principle of health is related to the principle of life in the universe. It wants to keep us healthy. It's just it's like life itself. Life is constantly growing, constantly becoming more. So the principle of health in us is something that once stimulated, it is able to heal all ails. And it does this through the process of growth, or it does this through a systematic process of growth, starting with the way we think. Yeah.
Yes, I find that very important to have a very positive mindset as to regards your healing. Your thinking really can make an impact on your daily life. Yes, and if you wake up feeling groggy, oh, it's probably something that you ate. But even after you have experienced what you've eaten and the thought process, it just has to be a mental growth within yourself to know that I'm going to be better. It depends on me. Whatever it is I put inside of me, whatever I think, it's really up to me if I want to be better, a better person. Yes, taste of food is very, very, very important.
Yeah, and just to add to what you said, right? Just to almost advance another interpretation of it, it really goes back to as we think in our minds and hearts, so is the condition and experiences of our lives. Many times we say, well, doc, I'm not thinking this cancer. I'm not thinking this high blood pressure. I'm not thinking this diabetic condition, or in some persons' cases, this earache. you know, and we don't have to think it presently for it to happen. You see, somewhere along the line, we have a habitual or unconscious thought that is directly congruent or directly in line to this feeling that we're having, and it didn't start today. Most of your cancers go back to persons who really in truth are very stressed. That's just the foundation of it. And this stress is something mental, meaning you have a job that just takes a toll, a husband that takes a toll, or a wife that takes a toll, or a situation in life. And after a while, as in the case of my breast cancers, and in the case of my fibroids, and in the case of my infertilities, or in the case of vaginal dryness, many of these women, they're afraid of their spouse. So in order to express dissatisfaction or disagreement with what he's doing, their bodies respond. So the body now begin to have difficult or irregular cycles, so he can't come to her. She can't say it with her mouth, so she developed a fibroid. And we don't realize the congruence there. An example again is your stomach cancers. Those are very, very easy to understand. It's along the same lines. We eat what we want to eat, and every time we're eating it, we're thinking this is bad for me. Well, that's fine enough. Your stomach is going to develop an ulcer or a cancerous condition because what you're eating is, you keep saying it. So I just say that in my line of work, if I can motivate a person to use their willpower, not to stop eating fried or fatty foods, to use their willpower not to exercise if you want to lose weight, but to use their willpower upon themselves in determining what he or she will believe first. Also in determining what he or she will think second. And in determining what he or she will give his or her attention to. Once you begin to use your willpower upon yourself, then you have begun to use your will in a legitimate way. It is not to be used upon you to get you to work harder or better. And it's not to be used upon myself when my leg is broken to make me get up and go. That's the wrong use of the will. Please don't do that. The will, power, is to be used upon self. To determine again what you will believe, what you will think, and what you will give your attention. In this line of work, you can turn that off. Oh, it's yours. Go ahead. Go ahead. You know, some people just want your products, but it's very important to get people to think health. It goes back to really, in truth, wherein the principle of health or the principle of life, this is something that has to be stimulated. It's in all of us, but if it's not stimulated, it doesn't work. And one of the best ways to stimulate it is to begin to create the perfect you. It's like you want to mentally begin to create the perfect picture of yourself. The perfect Carlene, the perfect Dr. Atkinson. And in some cases, for some people, it's difficult because they don't know what the perfect them looks like. You understand? So in that case, then I try to get persons to understand that it's really an understanding of health. Okay? You may not be able to picture yourself because most persons are not well given the mental faculties to even do that. But the point is to make it a habit over and over to begin to see this perfect you and make it your habitual thought of yourself. Again, I say habitual thought because as we think in minds and hearts, so is the condition of our lives. So is the experiences. You're not going to experience cancer if the condition of your mind don't harbor it. You will never have it. It is the condition of the mind. So the condition of the mind now, when it changes because we want to be more healthy and because we're going to get rid of sickness and get rid of disease, the first step is to create a mental image of the perfect you in perfect health. And you spend sufficient time in creating this image of yourself mentally. And once this is done, you make it your habitual thought of yourself and you're done so. Very difficult for most people. And for those who can't do it, basically what I'm saying is to have an understanding of perfect functioning in every part and organ. Just an understanding of perfect functioning, that is enough. Once you have that understanding, then you move on to the next step.
Yes. Very good, Bob. And I think it's very important for everyone to even tap into the source of health.
Exactly.
And whatever their belief system is, I'm sure that there's a
Turn it
program
on.
for us all to tap into that powerful source, that first love that I think we have strayed from. But
Yeah, I think so.
I really want to ask you about what your experiences have been marketing for Dr. Atkinson and Parkinson's Naturals.
Okay, since I have been marketing the products, the impact on persons' lives have been positive. I also get positive feedback. Most persons eat unhealthy. Most persons on a whole
Yes.
are unhealthy, and ever since I have been marketing these products, um, I have a lot of persons clean, eating cleaner now. They are mostly sticking to vegetables and fruits,
Yes.
and they are exercising.
Wow.
What had happened is after they have done the cleanse, they realize that they have lost pounds,
Yes.
like 10 pounds and more. So
Yes.
it has motivated them to go on, it has motivated them to eat clean, it has motivated them to exercise on a daily basis, and it has motivated them to stay healthy and fit. So for most part, they are very, very appreciative, they are very grateful, they are very thankful, and they realize that healthy lifestyle is the way to go.
Yes. Yes. For posterity. Absolutely.
Definitely. And the products are doing wonders.
Yes, I take them myself. I must say, I started with the mild cleanse, and I moved
It's most
an
stressful.
additional to the water. It's like I drink water more now because I know this water is very good for me. Yes. Um, yes, thank you, Doctor.
What I wanted to add before you go was that I spoke about the mental actions basically when I spoke about or about the principle of health. And these mental actions are good, but you cannot build a perfect body based on mental actions alone. Very important, but that's where it begins. You see, you have to have the mental and the physical. And you have some people who think health, but act like a sick person.
Yes.
Live like a sick person. You have some person who live healthy, eat healthy, and exercise, but think like a sick person. Okay, so for me, it's important to bring the mental and the physical together. Now, those mental actions that I mentioned, particularly in creating the perfect you and making it your habitual thought, the physical must be in line. And the physical are eating, drinking, sleeping, and breathing. Something we do every day. Something that we take for granted, and it makes us sick. Okay? Eating, number one. Breakfast is out. The first meal is generally had after 12 o'clock. Okay? Nobody's hungry upon awakening in the morning. It's a dirty habit and it's an appetite.